What is going on, Headliner Nation? It is time for the NFL playoffs. They're finally here. Kyle has some vested interest in the playoffs for the first time in his entire life, basically.
Well, not my entire life, but my adult life.
Yeah, you probably don't remember the last time the Lions were in the playoffs and actually had a chance. Kyle, you don't remember. You didn't remember what time this show was today. I don't have.
This is true.
You know what I mean? So there is that. But now the fantasy football season is over. We're going to be going through each and every one of these playoff games, just giving you a brief overview. But most importantly, we have some picks in each of these games that we're going to be using over on Underdog to try to make the playoffs a little bit more enticing in case you don't have a team in the fight here. So, Kyle, let's go ahead and just kick it off here first. Let's talk about Cleveland and Houston. CJ Stroud, in my opinion, the offensive rookie of the year, goes to the playoffs in his first season. This game's going to be played on Saturday, January 13th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's indoors, which is great. We don't have to worry about weather, but the Browns at -2.5 right now with a total over-under set at 44.5.
And really, when you take a look at the Browns, they were up at the beginning of the season, lose their starting quarterback. No one knows what's going to happen. And then Joe Flacco comes in to save the day.
Off
now
the
they're
couch.
one of the hottest teams in football.
Yeah, for sure. Joe Flacco has been super fun to watch, and I'm just hoping at some point he gets a chance to go up against Baltimore. That's kind of a little bit of a foreshadow there. But you know what? Let's talk about Joe Flacco real quick, because right now there is a line over on Underdog that I am super into as of right this second. We got these from our friends over at Odds Jam. If you're not familiar with Odds Jam, be sure to head over there, check them out, use the code word Liners, and get yourself a risk-free sign up there for a few days just to try to see if you like it or not. But honestly, they have it set right now at 253.5 for Joe Flacco's passing yards. Personally, Kyle, I'm smashing the over. The guy just goes out there and throws balls down the field consistently.
Yeah, and I mean, when you take a look at how this game script is probably going to go, it's going to be some back and forth action. I don't think Houston's going to lay down. I don't think you're going to see a game where Cleveland were to run away with it or anything like that. And Houston's pretty good on the ground at kind of slowing down the run. With as hot as Joe Flacco is, definitely could see him easily going over that. And if you think Joe Flacco is going to go over that, just keep in mind that Houston is one of the worst teams in football at defending tight ends. David Njoku's also hot right now.
I don't know about you, Kyle, but I'm pretty good at defending the tight end. Anyway, moving on. Once again, like I said, you can find this over on Underdog Fantasy. If you don't have an Underdog account, it's not too late. Head over there right now. Create a new account using the referral code Headliners when you do so we can match your deposit all the way up to $100. All right, Kyle, but we also want to have a little bit of fun with these picks as well. So you and I are each going to pick a winner for each matchup. There's going to be $5,000 on the line, Kyle. Whoever wins gets $5,000. Whoever loses,
haven't talked about these. We don't know who each other is picking.
No, I have no idea.
No idea.
I know who you'll pick for one game.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, the loser, you're going to want to pay attention throughout the playoffs, because whoever loses this has a very special punishment coming up here in the coming weeks when Kyle comes down to visit me. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So Kyle, in Cleveland in Houston matchup, where are you going? Who are you going with?
I'm going to ride the best defense. And Houston's defense has been very good this year. It has. But go ahead and give me the team with the best defense in all of football, the Cleveland Browns, and the veteran quarterback who has been here, done that. I'll take Joe Flacco and the Browns to win this game.
I mean, honestly, we're going to agree on this one. We're not going to have any ground made up by either one of us here in this matchup, because I agree. I think the veteran presence of Joe Flacco paired with the inexperience, I guess, of CJ Stroud in this very first playoff game, I'm going to lean Cleveland as well. All right, let's move on to the next matchup, the Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this one, Kyle, this one's going to be a little bit chilly. It's going to be played at 8 p.m. on Saturday night. Wind chills ranging down to -5 degrees. That is disgusting. Plus winds right around 10 to 15 miles an hour. Right now, the Chiefs at -4.5 with a total over-under of 44.
What an awful draw for Miami.
Dude.
Like, a team that led the division for essentially the entire year, kind of up and down, and then they just can't get it done at the end of the season. And now you have to go play Patty Mahomes in Kansas City in crappy weather. It's an awful, awful draw for them.
I mean, it is. And you know what? If it was just the Dolphins and Chiefs matchup, I kind of like the Dolphins a little bit, but being that this weather is factored into it, this is just not, it's not going to bode well for these guys. Are used to 75 degrees and sunny as like a winter temperature. Trust me, I was just there. So it's going to be a little bit different for them now. When it comes to a pick from this game, we kind of had to look around a little bit because it's hard with not only the weather, but how is Miami going to respond to the weather? Kansas City hasn't been playing great as of most of the season, but we're going to go with Travis Kelce here. His line for first downs is currently set at 3. So he would need 4 catches as a first down to hit this line. Honestly, in a playoff game, if they're not going to force feed Travis Kelce, when are they ever going to force feed Travis Kelce? I see him kind of being the safety blanket to keep drives going, try to extend drives. Even if he can fall for a couple first downs, trying to hit 3 of them isn't too bad of a line to go after.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard to expect that like Kansas City is going to have some double-digit score lead for the entire game.
Yeah,
And
no.
they're going to end up running the ball in the second half. I mean, like you said, Travis Kelce he hasn't been force-fed this year. They've really been spreading the ball around an awful lot here at the end of the season. This is going to be your only home game, more than likely, depending on how this plays out. You may have to end up playing on the road in the next round, and if that happens, you're going to want to give the home fans something to really go out on. I think that this offense will show up finally, and Travis Kelce will get that line for us.
All right, Kyle. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick in this one, but go ahead. I'll let you pick first once again.
You have to pick first. We have to go back and forth.
Oh, we get to go back and forth? Wait a second.
Back and forth. You get to pick first this time.
Kyle, me. Okay, cool. That means you get to go first for the Detroit game.
We all know that.
I know. Okay, so for me, honestly, I really want to go Miami. I really do. I really think Miami has a chance of the upset. Tyreek Hill going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. But man, after what we saw last week, what was really confusing for me is they were finding some success on the ground against Buffalo last week, and then they totally went away from the running game in the second half. They're going to have to run the ball successfully here this week against Kansas City with Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. But the weather has me absolutely terrified on the road in Kansas City. But you know what? I'm going to be a little bit bold, Kyle. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins.
Woo, well, this is going to be our first different opinion here because I'm going to go with the home team this time. Kansas City, obviously, this is a team that over the past several years has had a ton of success at home in the playoffs. And Miami has just struggled. And I love Mike McDaniel and I love Tua and I love what they are doing there. And like you said, I really want to go with Miami. But this is a team that just hasn't seemed to show up when the lights are the brightest. And Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City have done that for years now. Go ahead and give me the experience at home in a weather that benefits Kansas City more than it does Miami.
100%. Only reason I went with Miami is because I don't want to agree on every single one of them. I'm trying to win here, damn it. All right, next one up, Kyle. Let's go now to Pittsburgh and Buffalo. This game is going to be played on Sunday, so the next day, January 14th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Another cold one, not quite Kansas City cold, but still temps down in the 20s with winds up to about 15 miles an hour, gusts up to 30 miles an hour, and a chance of some snow flurries. As of right now, we got Buffalo minus 10 with a total over-under of 36 points. This is the lowest scoring game projected of the weekend, Kyle.
And that makes sense.
I mean, you got
all the points will come from Buffalo.
I mean, you got Mason Rudolph, right? I mean, now honestly, he hasn't been playing bad, but Mason Rudolph on the road in Buffalo in bad weather in the playoffs,
no,
that's a little bit worrisome here for me. All right, now when it comes to this game, we do have a couple picks. Odds jam over here. We got James Cook over 14.5 rush attempts. This one going to be super close for sure with the addition, I guess you could say, of playoff Leonard Fournette in this backfield. How much does he see a bump in this matchup, especially in some bad weather potentially? But James Cook, he's still the best running back on this team, Kyle. I think we both agree that this guy needs to be getting 15 plus touches a week every single week, but that's why we're not head coaches in the NFL, Kyle. Well, maybe we should be, but we're not.
We have some openings. I mean, I can tell you this. We would definitely utilize the offensive weapons in Atlanta better than their last head coach.
100%. Dude,
but
Kyle,
I do agree that it's going to be very close.
Dude, we should totally do that. You and I should both put in for the Atlanta job. Whoever gets it hires the other as the offensive coordinator.
I'm down for that. I can do that.
We know what we're doing this afternoon. All right, another pick here
is the defensive coordinator.
We don't
not
play no
anything.
defense. We just worry about outscoring everybody. Who cares?
There we go.
Just run a cover 2 every time. We have George Pickens as another pick we like here as well. Under receptions of 3.5. Now, George Pickens is another one of those guys, Kyle, I feel like we've been talking about for the last 10 months as somebody who is underutilized in this offense massively, right? When you throw George Pickens the football, good things happen. The problem is they don't throw it to him consistently. So under 3.5 receptions is definitely an option here this week as well.
Yeah, and the only issue that I have with these 2 picks is that game script dependency. I think we agree that Buffalo's going to end up winning this game, but how much do they win it by? Do they win it by enough that they're like, well, let's not waste James Cook at this point, and then that becomes an issue, and they end up putting their backups in there. And for George Pickens, he absolutely could end up having a good day still, but only have 2 catches to give you those big yards. Deontay Johnson had that big catch last week. Maybe Pat Freiermuth can get going this week as well, but I do anticipate them just running the football. Run it, run it, run it. Because if you don't run it and keep Josh Allen off the field, you're not going to have an opportunity anyway.
100%. All right, who are you taking in this matchup, Kyle?
I mean, congratulations to Pittsburgh for making the playoffs once again. And
for sure.
Mike Tomlin, I feel like he gets way too much hate, and I don't ever agree with it. He keeps his record of non-losing season intact, but we're going with Buffalo. It ends here for Pittsburgh.
I mean, as much as I would like to differ than you, Kyle, in multiple games, this is not one that I'm going to risk it either. I'm going with Buffalo at home in the playoffs, going up against Mason Rudolph. This is not one for me to be a little bit too cute with. So absolutely, I'm going with Buffalo here as well. All right, next game up, Green Bay at Dallas, and we're playing indoors, Kyle. So we don't have to worry about crappy weather. Playing on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Right now, Dallas minus 7.5 with a total over under at 50.5. Going to be some points in this game, Kyle. And honestly, I'm looking forward to this game a little bit. I don't have any vested interest in this game, but Green Bay has been playing so well as of late. Jordan Love has been playing great as of late. This could be a good matchup to watch.
Absolutely. It could be a fantastic matchup, especially if it's a lot of back and forth action. If we're driving down the field, scoring touchdowns, Dak and Jordan Love going up against each other, definitely could end up being one of the most fun matchups to watch all weekend.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to a pick for this game that we like, Kyle, how can you go against the overall wide receiver 1 in fantasy football and CeeDee Lamb? Dude has been absolutely crazy for what feels like almost the entire season, right? He got called out there early. He's not an alpha. Well, he showed everybody rest of season. Definitely an alpha. Right now, his current line on first downs is set at 5. The way this guy is seeing volume, he really only needs 5 receptions to push this 6 to get it because the guy's always finding ways to get down the field.
Yep. Yeah. It just, I mean, even if it's a 2 or 3 yard screen or some crossing route, slant over the middle of the field, typically more times than not, he's going to take it an extra 5, 6, 7 yards anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So definitely love some CeeDee Lamb here this week. All right, I get to go first in this game, right?
Yep.
Green Bay and Dallas. Now, my head says I need to go Dallas here. You know, I feel like Dallas at home with the way they've been playing here is probably the smarter choice. But Green Bay is so damn enticing. And if there's a team that I think can take it to Dallas and upset them, it could be Green Bay. The problem is, I don't know if Green Bay has enough firepower to stay with it if this game kind of turns into a little bit of a shootout. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stick with Dallas here.
You know what? Dallas just seems to not be able to show up when it matters most.
I know, and that's what has me worried.
Over the last several years in the playoffs, they've done horrible covering the spread.
Yep.
They've lost games in just the worst ways, and Dallas fans continue to just be Dallas fans.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and say that.
Overly
and in
optimistic.
this matchup, when you get a super tough Green Bay team that is playing really well, especially on the offensive side of the ball, you absolutely have to be on upset watch. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and pick the Dallas Cowboys to figure it out and win this game with defense and keep it going for those Dallas fans.
You had me going there.
As a Lions fan, I want to go to Dallas next week, and I want to kick their butts after what happened a couple weeks ago.
I mean, you had me going there. I thought you were going Green Bay.
Nope.
I was a little
Oh,
bit shocked there because I was like, how's a Lions fan going to pick a Packer? But hey, all right. So we're both going Dallas.
Yep.
Which then takes us, Kyle, to the next matchup, the Los Angeles Rams and your Detroit Lions, being played Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Another game indoors, which is great. Right now it's Detroit -3 with a total, the highest point total of the weekend. 51.5 is where the over-under is set at right now for this game. It's got, I mean, this game could easily go well over 51.5.
All 51.5 of those points will be scored with these.
100%.
This is not the same Rams defense that we've seen in the past. And we know Detroit's defense, even though they're a lot healthier right now than they were over the last several weeks, it's still a defense that will give up those big plays. And I mean, the storyline here is Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit.
Yep.
There is no team that I wanted to face less than the Los Angeles Rams in the first round of the playoffs, just because that storyline just sucks for how much I love Matthew Stafford, one of my favorite players of all time. But that man will not get a cheer from me until after that game is over and Detroit has won.
Well, and here's what's great about it, too. Even on the other side of the football, right? We got Jared Goff going back up against the Rams. I mean, I guess we can look at this trade now as something that really worked out for both teams, right? Because Jared Goff, highly underrated, great quarterback there for Detroit. Like we said, a lot of points. Now, when it comes to a pick here, once again, Odds Jam sent us over one that they really like. It's Matthew Stafford over 35 pass attempts. And honestly, with I will be surprised if the dude goes over 45 in this game. That's how much I like this line as well. That's definitely one that I'll be playing over on Underdog Fantasy. Once again, if you haven't checked out Odds Jam yet, be sure to do so. There's a code right here on the bottom of the screen, head code Liners, to go ahead and sign up for your free trial. But this is definitely one of those games, Kyle, where I think both quarterbacks can see a very high pass attempt total.
Yeah, and I mean, the good news is that the Lions are at home, where Jared Goff plays a whole lot better than what he seems to play on the road. This is going to be a back and forth game. It absolutely will be, especially considering the fact that running the football is not going to be the easiest of tasks for either team. We know Detroit loves to run the football, but you've got Aaron Donald there for the Los Angeles Rams and still a pretty solid overall defensive line. That's going to be a little bit more difficult for them, so I could definitely see him throwing it more. Detroit has allowed the fewest rushing yards in all of football. They were the only team, I believe they ended up allowing less than 1,000 rushing yards on the season as a defense. Kyren Williams has been an absolute beast, but I don't expect him to go for over 100 yards either. I'm going to see a ton of passing here, a ton of offense, and a lot of it through the air.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I know which way you're going in this matchup, Kyle.
I'm going to have to go with the Lions. Like, I actually asked Jake if I could not pick this game
because
said no. It felt like bad juju. So I certainly am not going to pick against the Lions.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, you could see here, Kyle, this is where you could have thought you could have picked the Rams. And then if the Rams did win, at least you got to beat me. You know what I mean? But all right. Well, honestly, I want to go with Detroit as well. I do believe that Detroit, I don't want to say is destined, because then it makes it sound like I think they should be the Super Bowl champs. But I think that they have gotten to a point where they are able to win a playoff game. Like their team is built to win in the playoffs right now with the way that they can stop the run and the way that they can run the football. The Rams offense right now is really scary because Detroit has had troubles in their secondary. And when you have guys like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, they could absolutely just go ham in a moment's notice. So for a little bit of disparity here, Kyle, I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Rams. Only for the reason that if I win this, I can rub it in even more to you.
Oh, it's going to be a great Sunday.
It's going to be a great Sunday, Kyle. All right. That takes us to the last game of the week. It's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Kyle, there's a lot here that we really don't know about yet because this game isn't being played until Monday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. A matchup that we really don't have to worry about weather, right? We're going to be down in Florida. It's going to be in the 60s, only 14-mile-an-hour wind. However, there is a slight chance, and I'm talking like slight chance. The last time I looked, it said 9%. So we'll pay attention to that of rain. But there's always a chance of rain everywhere in Florida at this time of the year. Now, the current line is Philly -3 with an over-under set at 43.5. But the last time we saw Jalen Hurts, his finger was like bent weird. Like there's some
Exactly.
questions here. We know, Devontae Smith not 100% healthy. So there's not a whole lot here that we know for sure of, but definitely a lot to pay attention to.
Yeah, and I think this is probably going to be one of the most anticipated matchups. And
Yep.
there's not really like a storyline behind it like the other ones, but there's a whole lot of question marks. And because of that, I think people are really going to be tuned in.
Yeah, 100%. Now, when it comes to a pick in this game, it was hard to find one this early in the week, but we saw one and we both collectively liked it at the same time. It's Mike Evans higher than 3.5 first downs. Now, the reason we like this one is we do believe that going up against this Philly secondary, Mike Evans can get 4 catches. And how often does Mike Evans catch a football that doesn't go at least 10 yards down the field? Really upping the chances here to hit that first down number. That's what we're going higher for Mike Evans first downs.
We're really hedging on those first downs this week. We like those first down bets.
Full disclosure, I've won a lot of money on Underdog doing a lot of first downs because a lot of times you'll be able to find a line of they're expecting a player to get 6 or 7 catches, but only 3.5 first downs. I'm going to take my risk on a guy like that, especially Evans, who can get plays in chunks. So, yeah, that's where I'm going here this week. Now, this one, Kyle, this one's going to be tough to pick because we don't know about some of the stud players here in this game. And unfortunately, I have to go first because you got to go first last time. So that totally backfired on me. If Jalen Hurts is playing, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. We just don't know how well is he going to be able to play right now. With this being a game, a home game for Tampa Bay, the Bake Show.
You're struggling. I know what pick I'm locking in.
Really?
Yep.
I'm going Tampa Bay. I'm going Tampa Bay. I'm going Tampa Bay only because I don't know for sure about Hurts and Devontae Smith.
Yep. No, lock me in with Tampa Bay. Even if Hurts plays, even if Devontae Smith plays, AJ Brown hurt his knee last week. You know, there hasn't been a ton of word on if he's 100% or where he's really at and stuff like that. And Philly just has played like crap over the last several weeks.
They've been playing bad.
Here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing for me.
Okay.
Your defensive coordinator is Matt Patricia. Get that man out of here.
That's true.
What's he still doing in the NFL?
True.
Screw that dude.
I mean, isn't it crazy? Off topic real quick, but like how many coaches are just retread coaches that continue to fail? Yeah. And yet they continue to get jobs. I don't understand it. That is great right there. We know that Tampa Bay wants to throw the ball. We know that Philly can't stop the pass. So with guys like Mike Evans out there, Kyle, we both went Tampa Bay here. I'm a little bit.
They haven't even been able to stop the run lately. It feels like that defense is a mess, and it's Matt Patricia's fault.
That's true. 100% can't disagree with you there. All right, that's the slate of the wild card matchups here this weekend. I know Kyle's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Once again, if you haven't already signed up on Underdog or OddsJam, now is the time to do this. Come have some fun with us during the NFL playoffs. There are going to be links down below in the description. Plus, Kyle's also going to be doing some live drafts, some best ball teams based off of playoff rosters only. So you want to be sure to get in on that. It's going to be a lot of fun here for the remainder of the playoffs. Anything else you want to say about the wild card round, Kyle?
Man, I'll be in Detroit on Sunday for the game, and I am just hoping that Detroit finds a way to pull it off.
Me too. For your sake, me too. For my sake, I hope the Rams win so I can gain a lead here on you, but that's a completely different story. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of show. Let us know down below in the comment section, which one of these teams do you feel has the best chance to make it to the next round of the NFL playoffs? But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here today. Kyle's going to go like maybe brush his beard. Maybe no.
I probably need to. I already showered today, but maybe I need to double check it, make sure there's nothing living in it.
There may be a small community in Kyle's beard right now. We have no idea, but hey, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Have fun watching the NFL playoffs this weekend, and then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.